Level 1, $0. You cut other people's grass for cash, and in 30 years you'll be worth $100 billion off the exact lawns these people pay you to kneel in. Not today. Today you're 32 in Marietta, Georgia, working a party you weren't invited to. It's at Marcus's place. Your neighbor across the cul-de-sac, the big house with the perfect hedge. You just split a bag of chicken manure fertilizer across his lawn, so now you smell like a barn, not cut grass. Marcus catches one whiff and plays it for the whole deck, pinches his nose, staggers back like he's been shot. Nasty, hooey! Everybody laughs. The whole cul-de-sac. You laugh too, half a second late because the joke is you. He waves you off the patio, spigots around back. Then your wife brings you a glass of water, and Marcus slides his hand onto her waist like it's his to put there. Says it to her, not you. A woman like this, married to a man who smells like a coop. Come stand on my side of the street, sweetheart. Leave the lawn boy his weeds. Your daughter hears it from the curb, where Marcus's boy Tyler and his friends ask why she smells like a farm. Then Marcus tips you, not cash. He flicks a $2 packet of grass seed at your chest. Compliments of the house. Whole street's tired of staring at your dirt. You needed the $80. You got a packet of seed. In the clippings he told you to dump, there's a stack of red foreclosure letters. The mansion is a costume. One day he's broke and you're the man he begs, but the part that keeps you up is why you keep the seed. Level 2, $25,000. The truck cost $1,400 and hesitates at every green light like it's reconsidering its life. The company name is on the door in paint pen, written by you the night before. Green line crooked because you ran out of arm before you ran out of word. Your first real customer is Carol, your neighbor, and the HOA president, from the big house at the mouth of the cul-de-sac. She holds the card you printed at the library and pinches it by one corner, like it's damp, like it might be contagious. She haggles you down $30 in the shade of the maple you'll spend 4 hours under. You don't say anything. 25 grand a year is not a number that says no. You mix your 2-stroke in a milk jug in the driveway, gas and oil by eye, and the smell climbs into your hands and stays there. You shower twice. It doesn't matter. Your daughter hugs you at the door and tells you that you smell like the mower, and she means it kindly, and it still lands somewhere it shouldn't. Then comes Mrs. Albright, your neighbor a few doors down, the widow with the flower bed. 3 hours in, edging a bed nobody has touched since her husband died, you find his wedding ring sunk in the mulch, gold worn thin. You make 25 grand a year. That ring is a month, maybe 2. You carry it up to the porch and put it in her hand. She doesn't say thank you. She holds it up to the light and counts the little diamonds twice, watching your face like the honesty is a test you're failing. That's the part nobody warns you about. It's not that they think you're dirty. It's that they think you'd steal theirs. But here's what Mrs. Albright does next. She tells the whole subdivision that the lawn guy found a ring he could have pawned clean and walked it up to her door instead. By the end of the month, you've cut 6 more yards off that one story. An estate. A foreclosure cleanup. A backyard nobody had touched in a year. Your reputation, it turns out, is the only thing about you that doesn't smell. You do the math in the garage, boots off, hands raw and green. You're the cheapest, the dirtiest, and the most honest man in 40 miles, and the honesty is the only part anyone will pay extra for. The lifting is killing your back. The lifting is not where the money is. You hire one guy, Dale. He needs the work worse than you do, the only reference that's ever mattered in this business. Now there are 2 trucks, and one afternoon you stand at the curb watching Dale push a mower you used to push, and you understand the first real secret of money. It was never about being willing to cut the grass. It's about being the last one who has to. You don't know it yet, but that one thought is the whole $100 billion machine. Everything after this is just adding zeros to it. That night you drive home past Marcus's house. The hedge is still perfect. Every light inside is off. Level 3, $100,000. You wrap the trucks, real logo, real font, a phone number you can read from the next lane. It costs $4,000 and it's the best money you've ever spent. Because the same week the trucks go from white to branded. The neighbors who used to cross to the far sidewalk when they saw you start flagging you down for quotes. The logo did in a week what your face couldn't do in a year. At a block party, the same kind of party where your neighbor Greg, 2 doors down, once took a half step back from you, you say a different sentence. I run a 6-truck crew now, and Greg, who stepped back last summer, steps in. The 3 driveways of distance he gave you for being the lawn boy close to about 1 driveway for being the lawn boy with 6 trucks. You clock it in feet. You're starting to clock everything in feet. Then the regional property manager calls. He runs grounds contracts for half the HOAs in the county and wants to subcontract your whole crew. Medians, entrances, retention ponds. The ugly green nobody photographs. And parked outside that first job, it lands on you all at once. Nobody is competing for this. Not because you're a genius, because the work is beneath them. Every guy with an MBA wants the app, the brand, the clean thing you can explain at dinner. Nobody fights you for the dandelions in a median in August. The contempt is the moat. The exact thing that made Marcus flick seed at your chest is the thing no competitor will ever lower himself to touch. You are going to get rich in the blind spot of every man who ever looked down on you. One day, that blind spot cuts every lawn in America. That same month, you mow Marcus's place one last time before he cancels. You glance through the front window while you coil the hose. Empty rooms, a folding table, a mattress on the floor, and a stack of red letters on the counter. The perfect hedge is the last thing he can afford to keep up, the only part of him the street can see. The mansion was always a set. You just got to look backstage. You don't open Marcus's packet. You can't say why. You buy a 40-pound bag of rye seed instead and spread it across your own dead yard, and you leave his $2 packet sitting in the truck, untouched, like evidence. You water the yard for 3 weeks. It comes in green. The HOA notice comes off your door. And your daughter, who used to play in the backyard alone, suddenly has 2 friends over on a Saturday. A nice lawn is an invitation, a bad one a verdict. You watch them through the kitchen window and your wife says, "Careful." That Carol's crowd finally waved at her at pickup. It should feel like winning. It feels like a receipt. They didn't come for her. They came for the grass. The property manager shakes your hand on the last day and mentions, almost as a joke, that his old business partner is going down in flames right now. House in foreclosure, wife already gone, dragging everyone who trusted him down with it. You ask the partner's name. He says it was Marcus. Level 4, $500,000. You buy a suit, $300 off the rack, tailored by a guy in a strip mall. And the first time you wear it into a room, something happens that never has before. Nobody can smell the work. They look at you and see a man, not a trade. But the suit isn't the real experiment. The trucks are. You re-letter them. Green Line grounds and facilities. You don't tell your wife why. You just watch. And Carol's crowd, the same cul-de-sac women who look straight through your wife for years, start saving her a seat at school pickup. The same week, 2 of them knock on your door with a casserole and ask whether your company has room to take on their yards. She comes home and says it flat. No joy in it. They like me better since the truck's got words. She knows it isn't her. You both do. You file it. You're getting good at filing things. Because that's the whole game, and it's the game the street always played. At 0, you were the lawn boy. At $100,000, the grass guy with the trucks. At $500,000, you walk in as a grounds and facilities partner. Same man, same hands, same dirt under the nails. 3 words after a comma changed how every neighbor says your name. Carol's HOA sends you a letter, and for once it isn't a fine. Would you walk the neighborhood and advise the board on curb appeal? Pro bono, of course. Neighbor to neighbor. You don't answer it. You frame it. Then the street hands you Marcus one more time. At an industry mixer, there he is. Your old neighbor from the big house across the cul-de-sac, in a suit that fits worse than yours, working the room as a landscape turnaround consultant, which is what a broke man calls himself when the only turnaround he needs is his own. He doesn't recognize you. The last time he looked at your face, it sat below the line where his eyes bothered to focus. He hands you his card, and you take it the exact way Carol took yours that first morning, by 1 corner, like it's damp. You don't mention the seed packet in your glove box, or the foreclosure letters you once found in his hedge clippings. You let him talk, because you figured out the thing that makes you dangerous. His mansion was a costume. Your suit is a costume. The difference is you know yours is fake, and now you can read everyone else's. There's a tax on that. You can read every room in the county and still can't stand in one as yourself. The suit hides the exact thing you came from, which means every handshake is a quiet agreement to never say who you are. That skill turns into contracts faster than you can sign them. A city parks deal, 11,000 acres of public grounds. Then the developer emails. Take over the grounds for the whole portfolio, consolidate it under one company. Yours. You say yes. The yes comes with lawyers. Level 5, $1 million. The deal closes, and overnight the people running it start saying we. When we expand the commercial division, you never agreed to a we. The pronoun just moved in. The way a property line moves when a neighbor quietly repaints the fence 3 feet over and dares you to bring a survey. You don't correct anyone. You file it. But the real change is back home on the cul-de-sac. Greg, your neighbor who once gave you 3 driveways and a half step back, now flags you down at the mailbox and waves you into his garage for a beer. The man who measured you in driveways can't get close enough. He isn't being friendly. He's standing next to a number. Carol does it to your wife. She corners her at pickup and asks, "Sweetly, what you're worth now? Not how you're doing. What you're worth." Your wife tells you in the car home, half laughing, half not. They don't ask who I married anymore. They ask what he's made. Same street, different smile. They've stopped pricing your labor and started pricing your enterprise. Still pricing you. Your daughter gets it too. She comes home and tells you she was finally invited to a party on the good side of the cul-de-sac, the kind she used to watch from the curb. Then she asks, "Careful, if you're rich now." You don't know how to tell her the invitation was never about her. It was about the trucks. Then the street hands you Marcus again. Across a charity table you paid $8,000 to sit at. There he is, clawing his way back, pitching. He still doesn't know you're you. He's pitching you on a roll-up in his old sector, a deck heavy on adjectives and light on margins. He needs a check. He needs your check. You're almost level with him now. One night you were the neighbor he wouldn't let inside to wash his hands. Tonight he's calling you partner and asking you to fund his comeback. You could end him with one word. You could lean in and say seed and watch his face fall through the floor. You don't. You do something colder. You read his numbers and tell him the truth. His margins don't work. His last venture is still bleeding on the books. You'll pass. You're professional about it. He was personal. He thanks you for your time and moves to the next table, still with no idea who you are. That's the moment the revenge stops being a fantasy and becomes a spreadsheet, and it's almost disappointing how little it stirs in you. You wanted a fire. You felt due diligence. You drive home with the C packet still in the glove box. Retired. A relic from a man you used to be. You keep meaning to throw it out. You never do. The next morning a private equity firm calls. They want to roll your whole company up into a national platform. You have to sign. Level 6, $10 million. The company gets rolled into a national platform and you wake up as CEO, running grounds crews in 40 cities. An empire built entirely out of the work people pay to never think about. A national fund is already circling, already whispering the word IPO. One day this thing keeps the grounds for half the office parks in the country. And every man who ever flicked seed at a lawn boy will park his car in a lot your crews maintain. But that's a cage for later. The cage for tonight is the new street. You move the family to a gated community across town, the kind of place Marcus only ever pretended to belong to. And the neighbors there don't ignore you, and they don't cross the sidewalk. They do something worse. They come at you in a line. One makes eye contact across the cul-de-sac. Then a second appears at your elbow with a reason to be there. Then a third drops a mutual name. You start counting because you can't help it. Half the street introduces itself before you reach your own front door. Nobody slides a chair away from you now. They pull one out, and a man only holds a chair for a number he's already run. Your daughter feels it too. She's in college now, the little girl from that curb all grown up, and she comes home the first break and tells you, careful, that her new friends call her new money behind a smile that never drops. The same kind of crowd whose parents once asked why she smelled like a farm. You bought her out of one judgment straight into a more expensive one. The distance didn't close. It just changed currency. Your wife names it first, the way she names everything. These people don't look down on us anymore, she says. They look us up. And that's worse, because at least looking down was a thing you could climb out of. You acquire your first real competitor, a company bigger than your whole operation was when it was just you, Dale, and 2 hesitating trucks. And the same week the deal closes, the old street reaches back. An email from a name you almost forgot. It's Tyler. Marcus's son, the boy who taunted your daughter at that curb, the one who asked why she smelled like a farm. He's grown now, and broke now, and he's asking you for a job. You hire him, mid-level grounds manager. You pay him well. You never once mention the curb, because the not mentioning is the whole revenge. He'll feel it every day without you saying a word. It should taste like something. It tastes like nothing, because at 2 a.m, in a house you own outright, you finally do the math you've been running your whole life. You can buy any house on that old cul-de-sac. You cannot make one neighbor stand close to your wife at a barbecue without checking your number first. The 3 driveways. The distance you spent half your life trying to close. It didn't close. It vanished. And you have no idea yet that vanishing is so much worse. Level 7, $100 million. The fund recapitalizes the company, puts your name on the building, and lands your face in a trade magazine that turns up in mailboxes up and down your old cul-de-sac. And the street that spent years giving your family 3 driveways of distance reads it over coffee and decides all at once that it loves you. Carol's HOA sends a letter. The same board that taped a deadline notice to your door and fined you $40 for the privilege. It isn't a notice this time. It's an invitation. They'd like you to be the guest of honor at the block party. The exact party. The one with the deck and the spigot and the laugh everyone's now pretending not to remember. Greg drives it across town to your doorstep himself. The man who once gave you 3 driveways now on your step asking for a photo. They think your story is wonderful. Local boy. Carol, who once haggled you down $30 in the shade of her own maple, corners your wife at the grocery store, holds her arm, and says they simply must do lunch. The moms who looked through your wife for years now save her the good seat at pickup. Not one of them has learned her name. They've learned your number. That's the only thing that ever pulled out a chair. Your wife says it flat, in the car, the way she says all the true things. They're so warm now it's hard to remember they were ever cold. That's the part that scares me. Same people. Same smiles. They just got new instructions. Then the house comes up. Marcus's old house, the one with the deck. He lost it to the bank years ago, and since then it's sat half empty past through a flipper who painted over the rot and a family who couldn't hold it either. Now it lands at public auction, and the whole cul-de-sac gathers at their windows to watch the sign go up on the one lawn nobody could ever quite keep green. You buy it. Over the phone in cash sight unseen, because you're not buying a house. You don't care what color the flipper painted the kitchen or what the last family left behind. You're buying the deck. The first time you stand on it as the owner, it's just a deck. Pressure-treated boards going soft at the rail. This is where a man pinched his nose and played your smell for a crowd, and slid his hand onto your wife's waist and called you lawn boy in front of your daughter. You waited half your life to stand on these boards holding the deed to them. You feel the wood give under your shoes. You feel nothing else. The deck doesn't know who owns it, so you leave the house empty. You can't say yet why you don't sell it, or move in, or take a sledgehammer to it. You just lock the door and keep the key on the same ring as the $1,400 truck you started with. The $2 seed packet stays in the glove box, still unopened. Level 8, $1 billion. $1 billion does the thing $100 million only hinted at. It puts the whole cul-de-sac up for sale, not officially. But every house on that street has a number now, and you have all the numbers, and one by one, quietly, through an LLC named after nothing, you start buying them, not from a plan, from a pull you decide not to examine. A house goes up, you buy it. The retiree 2 doors down from the deck takes your offer and weeps at the price. The family that used to cross to the far sidewalk when they saw your truck sells you their place, shakes your hand at closing and never once connects the buyer's name to the lawn boy who used to mow their grass. Inside of 2 years you own most of the street. The same cul-de-sac that gave your family 3 driveways of distance is, on paper, your driveway, all of it. And the few still holding out have no idea the lawn boy already owns the street around them. You tell your wife, thinking it's a gift. She doesn't smile. I don't want the street, she says. I never wanted the street. I wanted one person on it to talk to me at that party like I was a person, and you can't buy that one backward. Owning their houses isn't the same as a single one of them ever having seen me. It's just a more expensive way to stand in the driveway alone. She's right, and it lands the way a property line lands when it moves in the night. Then Marcus finds out, not from a tabloid, from a property record. His old house, his old street, all of it folded under one buyer who turns out to be the man he flicked seed at. He asks to meet. You let him, and you choose the place on purpose. The deck. He stands on the soft boards where he once owned the entire night, smaller than the memory, the way everyone always is. He apologizes. For the spigot around back. For his hand on your wife's waist. For the seed at your chest. He names all 3 in order, which means he always knew exactly what he did. You waited most of your life to hear it. You hear it. And the thing you were sure would feel like a door swinging shut feels instead like a receipt for something you already paid off twice. Then the apology bends into what it really came for. He needs work, a reference, anything. The man who flicked seed at your chest stands on his own old deck and begs the lawn boy for a job. The thing the very first night promised you. It arrives, and it weighs nothing. You don't forgive him and you don't bury him. You thank him for coming. You watch him walk down the driveway he used to wave you off of, and you understand you will never get that night back. You can only own the boards it happened on. That night you take the original $2 packet of seed out of the glove box where it's lived all these years, unopened, faded now, the writing nearly gone. You still don't open it. You're not ready. But you carry it inside and set it on the kitchen counter, where you'll have to look at it every morning until you are. Level 9, $100 billion. At this number, you stop being a man with a company and become something closer to weather over an entire industry. Your crews keep the grounds for half the office parks and gated communities in the country. Every man who ever flicked seed at a lawn boy now pays your crews to keep his own lawn alive. You did the exact thing that first party promised. It changed less than you thought. What changes is the street. Because at $100 billion, you finally do the only thing with that cul-de-sac that was ever going to mean a thing. You tear down Marcus's house. The mansion that was always a costume comes down in an afternoon, and the deck where he played your smell for a crowd goes into a dumpster board by board. Where it stood, you put the one thing that street paid you to kneel in for 30 years. Grass. Open, green, no fence, no sign, no HOA. A yard that belongs to the whole street and bills no one. And the houses you bought up. Carol sold first, Greg not long after. You don't rent back to the kind of people who used to live there. You hand the leases, cheap, to your own. Dale, who needed the work worse than you did the day you hired him, gets the corner lot. Even Tyler, Marcus's boy, grown and steadier now, takes a house 3 doors from where his father's deck once stood. The grounds crews, the men who mix two-stroke in milk jugs and still smell like the mower, move onto the snob street one family at a time. The kind of neighbors Miss Eyes Albright once was, until the cul-de-sac that gave your family a wide berth fills up with people who'd hand you a glass of water without thinking twice. You take the house nearest the green for your own family. It isn't the street your wife didn't want anymore. None of those people are on it. On the morning the green opens, you take the faded packet off the kitchen counter where it sat unopened all this time and walk out to the bare dirt where the deck used to be. The original $2 packet, 30 years old. The one Marcus flicked at your chest to tell you what you were worth. You finally tear it open. You spread it across the dirt with your own 2 hands, the way you spread 1,000 yards before you owned anything, and you water it, and it comes in green. The insult was never the seed. You understand that now, on the lot. The insult was that for 30 years the people on this street decided what you were worth before you opened your mouth. First too little, then too much. Never once did one of them look across a fence and just see a neighbor. So you stopped waiting for them to. You changed the neighbors. Your wife comes out and stands next to you on the new grass. And your daughter, grown, walks barefoot across a lawn that nobody is judging. Nobody saving a seat. Nobody running a number under the smile. The good seat is the whole yard. You smell cut grass and two-stroke in June, and for the first time on this street, none of it is something you have to apologize for. You planted what they threw at you. And for once, when the work is done, you don't drive off. You stay. That was the whole point. You finally have a street worth standing on. If this one stayed with you, like and drop a comment with where you're watching from. Subscribe for more.